Hey guys, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a book unhaul. I have so many books that I just don't think I'm ever going to get to, honestly, or it's just not something I'm interested in anymore. So I have a pretty big book unhaul for you guys. All of these are going to be listed on my Depop. I usually price my books around $10 or less unless they're like brand spanking new or something like that. But yeah, so let's get into the video. So the first large pool of books are going to be YA books that I just don't think I'm really interested in anymore. I finally feel like I'm drifting out of my I primarily read young adult stage. So that's what a lot of these books are going to be. They just don't really sound like books I'm quite interested in anymore, and I don't feel like they're too relatable to me anymore, so let's get into it. So up first is Reality Boy by A.S. King, and this one follows a boy who I believe has been forced to be in a reality show for a majority of his life, and you kind of see the repercussions of that. I just personally am not too interested in this one because, like I said, I feel like I'm coming out of my YA stage, and also this one I believe is magical realism, and I've recently discovered that I'm not too into magical realism, so if you are into it, this one will be up on my Depop. Up next, I have another A.S. King book, and that is I Crawl Through It. I was actually accumulating a lot of her books for a while because I was really interested in reading her because of Books and Lala. She loves A.S. King. I will link Kayla's channel down below if you're interested. She's one of my favorite booktubers, and if you're on BookTube, you've probably seen her before. But anyways, I'll link her down below. So yeah, so this one is just, you know, another one that's, I believe, has magical realism or something along those lines, and also I believe it has sexual assault in it, which is something that I'm not too comfortable with reading. So yeah, this one will be up on my Depop as well. So up next is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. I unfortunately was never one of the people who got around to reading Morgan Matson books, but I've heard really good things about her stuff, and I've heard that she's a staple in YA contemporary. So if that's what you're looking for, you can go ahead and pick this one up. It, I believe, follows two teens who go on a road trip together, and a lot of people say that this one seems like it's going to be romantic, but it's actually pretty hard-hitting. So if you're a fan of hard-hitting contemporary with a little dash of romance thrown in, I feel like you'd really like this one. So this one will be listed on my Depop. I just don't think I'm ever going to get to it. So up next is The Great Unknowable End by Catherine Ormsby, and this one I honestly have no idea what this is about. This was genuinely a cover buy. I think I bought this one a while ago from a used bookstore, and I just really loved the cover. I mean, it's gorgeous. So yeah, I can't honestly tell you what this is about, but all I know is it is a YA contemporary, and it will be listed on my Depop. The spine is also very pretty and ombre and reminds me of a sunset. By the way, ignore this stuff behind me. So this is a basket that my boyfriend thrifted, and we're gonna use it as like a foraging basket, but it's like a little backpack basket with little fishies on it, so it's really cute. And also ignore this machete of his in the background. I do not claim that. So up next is a book that I'm begrudgingly letting go because I've heard really good things about this author, and apparently she's like one of the best in the YA contemporary genre, and I've never read one of her books ever. I just don't think I'm ever gonna get to it, and that is Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. I've heard, like I said, amazing things about Jen Bennett. Apparently this is super fun, light, summery contemporary, and just by the looks of the cover, it looks like it's a perfect read for summer. So yeah, this one will be listed on my Depop. Up next, I actually have another A.S. King book, and that is Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future. Like I said, just not super into YA contemporary anymore. Also, this one I believe has magical realism elements, which I'm not super into, and this one is just about a girl in high school, and that stuff is just not super relatable to me anymore. I graduated high school like 5 years ago now, so nothing against the book. This might be a great book. I just don't think I'm ever gonna get to it. It's really hard to rationalize why I'm getting rid of certain books, but you know, you just look at things and they just don't spark joy for you anymore. These are those books for me. So I'm sorry if my explanations are really stupid and meaningless. They make sense in my head, but when I try to put them into words, it doesn't. So alrighty, up next is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I've also heard really great things about this author and about this book specifically. So this one, I believe, takes place on a summer island. There's a lot of like rich teenager drama, and that's another reason why I don't quite want to read this one, because I just don't like reading about like rich people. Like, I like reading about royalty, which doesn't make any sense, but I just don't like reading about like rich suburban people. I don't know, it's just not a trope that I like. But I heard it is fun and it's full of summer activities. I think it takes place on like a lake or something. So if you like that kind of vibe and are looking for something like that for the upcoming summer months, then go ahead and pick this one up. It will be on my depop. So up next is Words in Deep Blue by Kath Crowley. This is just another YA contemporary romance, and I think this one takes place in a library and the main character loves books. So if you are a fellow book lover and you like lighthearted, fun YA contemporary romances, I feel like you would really like this one. Personally, I just don't think I'm ever going to get to it, but I think the love interest may also be British. I am not 100% sure, but it does take place in a bookshop, so yeah. So up next is Always Never Yours by Emily Wiverley and Austin Sigmund Broca. So this one is another YA contemporary. I've heard really good things about this book. A lot of people in the YA contemporary community love this book and actually love this author duo, but unfortunately I just don't think I'm ever gonna get to this book. It's been sitting on my shelf for such a long time, and when I look at it I don't want to read it and it doesn't spark joy for me, so I will be getting rid of it and it will be on my depop. So up next is The Anatomical Shape of a Heart by Jen Bennett. This is another Jen Bennett book. I didn't realize this was even by Jen Bennett. I picked this one up on a whim from a local used bookstore, and I was like very much into YA at that time, and it's like pretty much in brand new condition, so I was like, I'm gonna get it, and I did, because I have a buying problem, especially when it comes to books. Anyways, yeah, so this one, just a YA contemporary romance, not super interested in the genre anymore, so it will be on my depop. So up next, I'm probably going to be selling all of these books together just because there's so many, and that is the first 8 books in the Cirque du Freak series by Darren Shan. So the first 4 are actually in a box set, and then I bought the other 4 individually from a local used bookstore. Well, actually this one was gifted to me, and then these were from a local used bookstore. I just don't ever think I'm going to get around to reading this series, and also just by the covers they look kind of cringy. I don't know, I just don't think I'm ever gonna get to them, unfortunately, and I am going to be probably moving again within the year, so I just don't want to have all these unnecessary books on my shelf, so these will be probably all listed together on my depop. Additionally, I also have Lord Lost, the first book in the Demonata series by Darren Shan, so this will also be on my depop as well. Another thing is I'm super picky when it comes to like vampire novels that I read. Was not a big fan of Twilight, and so I don't know, this isn't like Twilight. I just don't think I'm gonna like it, honestly. So the next couple books are in a category that is not really a category. I just can't figure out how to categorize these ones. I just don't want to read them anymore. So up first I have Grave Maidens by Kelly Kuhn, and this one I believe is a dystopian / fantasy. I'm not 100% sure what it's about. It says 3 chosen maidens, 2 lovely sisters, 1 dark tradition. So like I said, don't know really what it's about, but I feel like it has to do with some kind of like dark tradition like it says, and then I think there's like a royal family involved or something. I'm not 100% sure. I purchased this book because I was going to go to a book signing where Kelly Kuhn was, and I was kind of interested in this book, so that's why I bought it, but I ended up not going to that book signing. So yeah, this one will be up on my depop. So up next is This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. This is a dystopian sci-fi series that basically follows this either epidemic or pandemic that's like digital or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it has to do with like hacking, DNA technology, something like that. I'm just not super interested in reading it anymore, also because we're in a pandemic, so I'm not sure if I want to read about that right now because I read books to escape real life. So yeah, this one will be on my depop. Not sure if anyone else will want to read this, but some people are stronger willed and minded than I. So yeah. I don't know if I mentioned, but that previous book was a young adult book. This next one is an adult book, and this one I believe is contemporary, and that is The Nest by Cynthia D'Apric Sweeney. And this one follows a family who I believe are fighting over the family will, and they're trying to see who can get the most, and it's very dramatic and very rich, catty, suburban drama type thing. And that's the reason why I don't want to read it, is because I'm just not into reading about that. I'm not quite sure why I even picked this one up. I think this is my second time owning a copy of this book and then getting rid of it, and then I changed my mind and I bought it again. But I just don't think I'm gonna read it, so this one will be on my Depop. Up next is another adult book, and this one I believe is a fantasy, and that is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. And this one basically follows, I believe, a myth or folklore type thing surrounding the river Thames. That's all or is it Thames? I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyways, yeah, so I'm just not super interested in reading this one anymore. Also, it's heckin' long. It doesn't look long, but it is long. It's like over 400 pages, so like I said, I'll probably be moving by the end of the year, so I just don't want to have a ton of books that I don't think I'm going to read and have them take up space, so yeah. This next group of books are ones that at the time I was mega excited to read, or other people had said they were really good, and a lot of booktubers still really like these books. I just have accepted the fact that I am never going to get to them, and I'm also terrified of what my opinion will be on these books. So specifically, I am worried about what my opinion would be on this book, and that is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahiran. I have had this book on countless TBRs and I have just never picked it up. I don't know if it's because of the size of the book or just because people's reviews on it are so polarizing, but I just don't think I'll ever get to it. But if you are interested, this one is a older YA, I believe, fantasy that follows a witch and a witch hunter who end up forced into marriage, and I think something else ensues, if you know what I mean. And I think it takes place in like a French-inspired fantasy world, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I just don't think I'm ever gonna get to this one, so I apologize if my descriptions of these books are terrible, and I'm also terrible at describing why I'm getting rid of them. I haven't filmed in a while, so the words and the nomenclature is not coming to me very easily, so I'm a little rusty, if you know what I mean. The next book I have is Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. This is another case of a book that has really good reviews and really not so great reviews. And I am kind of afraid to read it because I don't want to waste my time and I'm not liking it and stuff like that. And also I don't think it's just something that's interesting enough for me to just say, okay, I'll read it anyway and risk it. And this one I believe is a Russian-inspired fantasy, and all I know is it has to take place in like a snowy setting, and also there's monsters involved. That's all I really know about it. I think there's also magic, maybe a little bit of romance. So if you're interested, it will be up on my Depop. So up next I have Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young. This one is a YA dystopian, and this one I am not 100% sure what it is about. I just saw a bunch of booktubers say they really enjoyed this book, and I saw it at a local used bookstore and picked it up on a whim. I'm not sure what it's about. I think it has to do with like girls who are like supposed to be like perfection or something like that. That's all I really know about it. I know Suzanne Young writes a lot of dystopian books. I know she wrote the Testing trilogy, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but this one will be up on my Depop because I just don't think I'm ever going to read it. Just because I'm getting rid of these books, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It doesn't mean I don't like them. A lot of these, except for like maybe 4, I've read. So I haven't read a lot of these, so I don't really know how they are. I just don't think I'll ever get to them. There's nothing wrong with them. So up next is I Hope You Get This Message by Farah Naz Rishi. So this one is a YA sci-fi, and this one follows 3 teenagers who are trying to figure out what to do with their seemingly last days on Earth when another planet comes to destroy them, I believe. And this one I was super excited about. I think I featured this one in an upcoming releases video at the time when it was coming out, and I was really excited about it. I heard it has really diverse representation, so I was really excited to read this one, and also I believe LGBTQIA+ in there, so I was really excited for this one. I just don't think I'm ever gonna get to it. Also not sure if sci-fi is really my genre, so this one will be up on my Depop. Up next, I have The Liars of Mariposa Island by Jennifer Mathieu, and this one is a YA contemporary that follows this girl who lives on an island, and it has something to do with like family history, I believe. That's all I really know about it. I just picked it up because I've read another book by Jennifer Mathieu and I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to pick up another one of her books, but I just don't think I'm ever gonna get to this one, so yeah, it will be up on my Depop. So up next, I have a book that I was really teetering between keeping and not keeping, and that is Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee. So this is the sequel slash follow-up to To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and I absolutely love To Kill a Mockingbird. It's one of my favorite classics, and I was really excited to get my hands on this sequel that came out so many years later, but I have not heard like the best things about it, and I'm kind of scared to read it. I'm kind of scared that it will kind of tamper my enjoyment of the first book, so I think I'm just gonna skip on this one. But if you are someone who absolutely has to read the sequel to a book if you enjoyed the first one, then this one will be on my Depop. Alrighty, so I have 5 books left. This first one is a book that I have read before. I just don't think I'm going to read it again, but I do think it is a very underrated YA contemporary, and it is one of my favorites. I rated it, I think, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I just don't think that I'm going to read it again, so I figured I might as well pass it along to someone else who might enjoy it as much as I did, and that is The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody. This one is a hard-hitting YA contemporary that follows a girl who tragically loses her best friend in an accident, and she's kind of seeing ghosts in a way, and I feel like this explores grief and trauma in such a deep and natural way, and it really made me cry a lot, so I really enjoyed this one. The audiobook of this is also narrated very well, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for an underrated, hard-hitting YA contemporary, I highly recommend this one. I really enjoyed it. I just don't think I'm going to get around to reading it again, so definitely check this one out. So the last 4 books are actually all by the same author, and this is an author that I really thought I was going to just fall head over heels for and want to read all of his works immediately because everyone on BookTube loves his stuff. And they are 4 books by Tochi Onyebuchi. The first 2 books are in a series. It's a duology, and it is the Beast Made of Night duology. The first one is called Beast Made of Night, and the second one is Crown of Thunder. I read these, I believe, in February, and I just wasn't super like ecstatic about them. They were just like okay for me. They weren't like the best fantasy I've ever read, but maybe that's just because I have unreasonably high standards for fantasy. I'm not sure. Like, it wasn't bad by any means. Like, it was really interesting. I really liked the concept. The magic system was pretty cool, but it was just kind of average for me. So these both will be on my Depop. I'll probably be selling them together since they are a duology. So yeah, check these out. So up next, I have Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi. This one is already actually listed on my Depop, and this one is a short dystopian novella that follows a almost near future kind of world where it's very divided. So this is kind of like a what the future could possibly be kind of thing, but there's like a little bit of magic thrown in there. I thought this one was pretty good. I really enjoyed it actually. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it hit a lot of really important topics and stuff like that, and I thought it was very, very interesting writing. So this one I just don't think I'm going to get to read it again. So yeah, this one will be on my Depop. Just be aware that it does have a lot of trigger warnings. This definitely is not young adult. It's definitely an adult novella. So yeah. And then the last book I have is one that I have not read, and that is War Girls by Toshi Onyebuchi. And this is his dystopian, I'm not sure if it's a series, I think it's a series. It's a dystopian sci-fi series, and it has to do with these like half robotic people. I'm not 100% sure what it is about, but I just picked it up because I had heard great things about Toshi Onyebuchi, and that was before I read 3 of his books. I just not sure if his writing or his books are for me, so this one will be going up on my Depop as well. Look at that cover though. I really love the blue. It's just so pretty. So I actually have 4 books that are already listed on my Depop, and they have been for a while, and I wasn't sure if I had put them into an unhaul video yet, so I'll go ahead and show those real quick. I have Time Bomb by Joelle Charbonneau, which is a young adult contemporary about a school bombing where 4 kids who are unlikely matches stick together to try to survive. So it's kind of like a Breakfast Club thriller vibe, if you're into that. The next one I have is Fragments of the Lost by Megan Miranda. This is a young adult thriller that I really enjoyed. I think I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. I just don't typically reread thrillers, and I don't think I'll ever reread it again in general, but it is really good, so I do actually recommend this one. It is up on my Depop. Up next, I have American Panda by Gloria Chow. This one is a YA contemporary about a Taiwanese girl who is trying to find her place in the world while having really strict parents and falling in love and stuff like that. I really enjoyed this one. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. The audiobook is also narrated very well. This one I just don't think I'm gonna read again. This one's up on my Depop right now as well. And then this last one is Famous in a Small Town by Emma Mills. Like I said, I just don't like the famous person, rich people trope, so I just don't think I'm going to be super interested in this one, but I have heard amazing things about Emma Mills, so yeah, go ahead and check this one out. It's going to be on my Depop. So that concludes the roughly 38 books that I will be letting go of today. Like I said, a lot of these are in brand new condition or slightly used condition. Some of them are pretty new but just have like a few little bumps and scratches from when I moved across the country. So yeah, all of these, if they're not already on my Depop, will be on my Depop very soon. Or if it's taking a while for me to upload a certain book that you want, just comment down below or message me on Depop and I'll post it for you to purchase. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like and subscribe down below and hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss a single upload. I will be definitely trying to get back more into filming lately. I just wanted to film this haul video before I posted all of these on Depop. So yeah, I will see you guys very soon, and have a great day. Bye bye.